Hello, everyone. I'm so glad you're here today to talk about travel experiences. Learning to share your adventures in English can be both fun and rewarding. In this video, we will explore simple ways to describe trips you have taken, practice shadowing sentences to build confidence, and learn useful expressions to make your stories come alive. By the end, you will feel ready to tell your own travel stories with comfort and clarity. First, I'll explain why talking about travel is a great way to practice English. Traveling often brings memorable moments. Meeting new people, seeing beautiful places, and trying different foods. These moments give us plenty of interesting details to share. When we describe them in English, we not only practice grammar and vocabulary, but we also learn how to connect our ideas in a natural flow, just like in everyday conversations. Next, we'll focus on shadowing. Shadowing is a method where you listen to a sentence and then repeat it immediately, trying to match the rhythm, pronunciation, and intonation. This technique helps you speak more fluently and develop an ear for English sounds. As we go through this lesson, I'll say each sentence slowly, and then you can repeat after me. Don't worry about making mistakes. Shadowing is all about practice and gradual improvement. The more you repeat, the more natural your speaking will become. Then we will look at some key phrases and structures for talking about past trips. We'll compare simple past tense and present perfect tense so you know when to use each one. You'll learn how to add details with words like when, where, and why, and how to describe feelings using adjectives such as excited, relaxed, or amazed. I'll show you how to connect sentences with words like then, after that, and finally. By seeing these patterns, you'll feel more confident building your own sentences. Throughout the main part, we will pause to shadow short examples together. I will guide you step by step, repeating each sentence in different ways. This repetition will help you grasp the structure and build muscle memory for speaking. You'll shadow once for accuracy and then again for speed, so you can improve both your pronunciation and your flow. Before we move into these detailed explanations and shadowing exercises, take a moment to think about a trip you remember fondly. It could be a day at the beach, a weekend in the mountains, or a visit to a new city. Hold that memory in your mind, and as we go forward, you'll be ready to apply these ideas to your own experience. Let's begin with the main part, where we dive into the language you need to share your travel stories clearly and confidently. Now that we have an idea of why sharing travel stories is so useful, let's look at some language tools to help you describe your trips clearly. In this chapter, we will explore two important verb forms for talking about past experiences: the simple past tense and the present perfect tense. We will also practice adding details about when, where, and how you felt. As we go, I'll give you sample sentences slowly so you can shadow them and build your fluency. First, the simple past tense. We use the simple past when we talk about specific events that happened at a definite time in the past. For example, I visited Paris last summer. The action is completed, and we know when it happened. Notice the verb visited ends in ed. Now let's shadow that sentence together. Listen and then repeat. Listen, I visited Paris last summer. Your turn. I visited Paris last summer. Good. Now try a variation. I visited my grandparents 2 weeks ago. Say it with me. Now let's add some details. When we describe a trip, we often answer questions like when did it happen? Where did you go? And how did you feel? We connect ideas with words such as then, after that, and finally. Here is a longer sentence for shadowing. Listen, last year I flew to New York. Then I walked through Central Park and felt amazed by the tall buildings. Your turn. Last year I flew to New York. Then I walked through Central Park and felt amazed by the tall buildings. Great. Notice how we use then to connect two actions and felt amazed to describe emotion. Now let's try a variation. Listen, In April, I took a bus to the coast. After that, I tasted fresh seafood and felt very happy. Your turn. In April, I took a bus to the coast. After that, I tasted fresh seafood and felt very happy. This kind of sentence gives listeners a clear picture of your journey. We can also use when to start a sentence that describes two things happening at once. For example, listen, when I arrived in Barcelona, I saw beautiful architecture everywhere. Your turn. When I arrived in Barcelona, I saw beautiful architecture everywhere. Try another. Listen, when I reached the mountain summit, I felt completely rested and proud. Your turn. Pause. When I reached the mountain summit, I felt completely rested and proud. By practicing these patterns, you will learn to connect actions and feelings naturally. Finally, let's repeat a simple story using these tools. I'll speak slowly, and you'll shadow each sentence twice, once for accuracy and once for speed. Ready? Listen. Accuracy. I have visited Tokyo twice. First, I explored the busy streets, and then I tried delicious ramen. Last time, I visited museums and felt inspired by art. Your turn. Accuracy. Listen. I have visited Tokyo twice. First, I explored the busy streets, and then I tried delicious ramen. Last time, I visited museums and felt inspired by art. Your turn. By shadowing this little story, you practice both present perfect and simple past, as well as linking words and feelings. Keep repeating until you feel comfortable. In the next chapter, we will look at more travel examples for you to shadow, and I will offer new ways to say similar ideas so you can keep expanding your vocabulary and confidence. Listen, I visited my grandparents 2 weeks ago. Your turn. Pause. I visited my grandparents 2 weeks ago. Repeating sentences like this will help you feel the rhythm of past tense verbs. Next, the present perfect tense. We use present perfect to talk about experiences when the exact time is not important, or when the action still matters now. For example, I have traveled to Italy. We're not saying when, just that the experience exists. Notice we use have, plus the past participle, traveled. Let's shadow that sentence. Listen, I have traveled to Italy. Your turn. Pause. I have traveled to Italy. Try another. I have tried sushi in Tokyo. Repeat after me. Listen, I have tried sushi in Tokyo. Your turn. Pause. I have tried sushi in Tokyo. By practicing both forms, you can choose the right tense when you tell your story. Examples. Building on the patterns we practiced, let's explore 3 short travel stories you can shadow. Each example shows different ways to describe a trip, using both simple past and present perfect, adding details with connecting words, and sharing feelings. After each sentence, pause and repeat it twice, once slowly for accuracy, then more quickly for fluency. These examples will help you see how to put the pieces together naturally. First example, a day at the beach. Last summer, I spent a sunny afternoon on a golden beach. Then I swam in warm, clear water and felt completely relaxed. Shadow after me. Listen, last summer, I spent a sunny afternoon on a golden beach. Then I swam in warm, clear water and felt completely relaxed. Your turn. Pause. Listen, speed. Last summer, I spent a sunny afternoon on a golden beach. Then I swam in warm, clear water and felt completely relaxed. Your turn. Pause. By using present perfect, have visited, and simple past, wandered, you show experience and specific actions. You connect them smoothly with then and describe how you felt. Third example, a mountain hike. When I reached the top of the hill, I saw a breathtaking view of green valleys, and I felt proud of my achievement. Let's shadow that. Listen, when I reached the top of the hill, I saw a breathtaking view of green valleys, and I felt proud of my achievement. Your turn. Pause. Listen, when I reached the top of the hill, I saw a breathtaking view of green valleys, and I felt proud of my achievement. Your turn. Speed. Pause. Next, we can paraphrase the same idea with different words. When I arrived at the summit, I admired endless fields below and felt a strong sense of pride. Shadow again. Listen. When I arrived at the summit, I admired endless fields below and felt a strong sense of pride. Your turn. Pause. Listen. Speed. When I arrived at the summit, I admired endless fields below and felt a strong sense of pride. Your turn. Speed. Pause. This variation helps you learn synonyms like admired instead of saw and summit instead of top. As you shadow these examples, notice how each sentence flows: a time or when clause, a main action, a connecting word, and an emotion or reaction. Practice each story until you can say it smoothly without pausing. Then, try telling a similar story from your own life, using the same structure and linking words. In the final chapter, we'll summarize the key patterns in new words and encourage you to keep shadowing every day to build lasting confidence. Notice how we begin with a time phrase, connect actions with then, and use felt relaxed to share emotion. Now try a variation. Last July, I lay on a soft towel under a palm tree. After that, I tasted sweet coconut water and felt refreshed. Second example, exploring a new city. I have visited Lisbon twice, and each time I wandered through narrow streets filled with colorful tiles. Then I tasted pastéis de nata and felt delighted by the sweet pastry. Shadow with me. Listen. I have visited Lisbon twice, and each time I wandered through narrow streets filled with colorful tiles. Then I tasted pastéis de nata and felt delighted by the sweet pastry. Your turn. Listen. Speed. I have visited Lisbon twice, and each time I wandered through narrow streets filled with colorful tiles. Then I tasted pastéis de nata and felt delighted by the sweet pastry. Your turn. Speed. Pause. By now, you've learned how to talk about your travel experiences using clear, natural English. You practiced both the simple past tense to describe specific moments, like I visited Paris last summer, and the present perfect tense to share experiences without focusing on exact times, like I have tried sushi in Tokyo. You discovered how to add helpful details with words such as then, after that, and when, and how to connect actions and feelings so your stories feel alive. You also shadowed full examples, a beach day, a city stroll, and a mountain hike, repeating each sentence slowly and then more quickly to build both accuracy and fluency. Now, take a moment to think of a trip you've enjoyed. Use the structures you've practiced today. Choose your tense, add enriching details, link your actions with words like then and finally, and share how you felt. Shadow your own sentences too. Record yourself if you can, and listen back to notice areas where you can polish your pronunciation or flow. Thank you for joining me on this lesson about talking travel experiences. Keep shadowing, keep exploring new sentences, and keep sharing your adventures in English. Practice every day, and soon you'll speak about your travels with ease and confidence. You can do this. Happy shadowing. Remember, each travel story follows a simple pattern. Start with a time or when clause. Describe your actions, link them together with connecting words, and end by sharing your feelings. For instance, you might say, in May, I flew to Rome. Then I tasted gelato and felt delighted by the creamy sweetness. By practicing this pattern again and again, you train yourself to speak smoothly and confidently. Shadowing remains your best friend as you continue learning. Keep listening to sentences, repeating them immediately, and paying attention to the rhythm, stress, and intonation of English. Try to shadow every day, even if it's just a few sentences. As you practice, you'll notice your pronunciation sharpening, your speed improving, and your ability to craft your own stories growing stronger.